No trading, no combat skills, no dying. Welcome to Let's Build a Level 3 Ironman. Hello, and welcome back to the Level 3 Ironman Skiller account. In the last episode, we laid the groundwork for a lot of the progress that you're going to see going forward. Specifically, in this episode, I'd love to get at least as close as possible to that 63 farming requirement for belladonna seeds. Of course, because belladonna, aka cave nightshade, is one of the primary ingredients needed to create poison dynamite, which is our primary and basically only weapon going forward on this account. But for now, where we left off was fishing karmbwangis so that I can continue growing kittens, which will be a primary source of money for the very beginning stages of this account. I actually stopped around 3,600 karmbwangi. That should be plenty, maybe even enough to grow all of the cats I'll ever want to grow on this account. But if I need more, I can always just come back here and get some more. It's really easy and nice and AFK. Of course, in order to be able to even sell those cats, I need to secure my passage back into West Ardoin. And to do that, I'll have to start biohazard. Now, I can't actually complete biohazard for a long time, as I have to kill a level 13 mourner in this quest, and I don't have the ability to do that just yet. I know there might be a way to cheese it with an alternate account, but that alternate account needs to be on the same stage of the quest as you, and I don't have access to an account that's at that stage of biohazard. However, I'm not too worried about it, as the only real reason to complete biohazard for me is to complete the Ardoin Easy Diary, and I don't want to complete that until I have 30 Slayer, because otherwise I won't be able to use the lamp on Slayer, and obviously that's what I want to do. So just starting biohazard is good enough for now. I can use the rope ladder here to get in and out of the city whenever I need to sell my cats. So of course that's what I did. I went ahead and sold my first cat, and the death runes from one cat without world hopping will sell for about 9,800 coins, which is actually really good. That's one of the easier ways for me to get money at this point. And I can follow up selling my runes by getting another cat basically instantly. It's all in Varrock, which is really nice and easily accessible with my Chronicle teleport. So one thing about growing belladonna is you actually need the seeds, and the seeds aren't that easy to come by. The two primary sources for the seeds are going to be the farming contracts from the Farming Guild, which I don't have access to yet, and thieving master farmers as a rare drop. In order to thieve master farmers more effectively, I'm going to want the rogue's outfit, which requires 50 agility and 50 thieving, so I'm going to go ahead and get a start on agility right away by doing some Varrock rooftops. Unfortunately, the Varrock course is really slow. It's only about 9k XP an hour, so this process is going to take me around 10 hours. Because of course, at 40 agility, I cannot swap to the Canifis course, as that would require Priest in Peril, which gives prayer experience. So unfortunately, I had to get used to the sights and sounds of Varrock, and was stuck here for quite some time training agility. Now, it is worth noting there is one additional way to get Cave Nightshade for Poison Dynamite, and that's to pick it up off the ground from inside the Scavid caves used during the Watchtower quest. Technically, this is accessible for me, but I'd have to partially complete the Watchtower quest, which is something I'm not really going to be able to do right now. In order to get up to the point in the quest where you can explore the caves and pick up the Cave Nightshade, I need some Dragon Bones, which the only way for me to really get is 83 Hunter and Dragon Implings. And even if I did have the Dragon Bones, I also have to kill a level 67 Ogre in order to get the map required. Without Poison Dynamite already, I'll have to kill the Ogre using a poison weapon and sacrifice combat experience, which I really don't want to do. So that said, while it's technically possible to get access to this Nightshade to start picking it up off the ground, I don't think it's going to be the best path forward for this account. However, in the future, this will be a great alternative way to get some Nightshade, and I will be unlocking it as soon as I can. In the interim, of course, I still kept growing cats, and that gave me some money to get some more teleport cards from my Chronicle. And while I was at Diango, I also unlocked some cool cosmetics from his shop, and also this code that you can get to unlock some Yu-Gi-Oh style trading cards that you can wield. They're super cool, and I actually wore them for quite a while, as you'll see in the series. One really cool thing about being a skiller is you can actually equip a lot of different cosmetics, and it's not inefficient to do so that makes it really fun. While training agility, I also got my first surprise exam, which is actually huge. This one gives times 15 your level in experience, so I'll get a lot of Slayer experience from these going forward. I can just hope to get a lot of them. Unfortunately, this is the first one we've got though, and it's already about 12 hours into the account, so far not so good, but hopefully we'll get more in the future. Immediately following that, we did get the 50 agility and got a nice genie lamp to spend here on Slayer as well. That Slayer experience is coming in slowly but surely. Every lamp and book I get will help a lot, because it'll be less time I have to spend at the Varrock Museum cleaning finds to get experience lamps that way. When nice thing about doing the agility grind right away is I am able to get a couple graceful pieces, which I did go ahead and buy the legs and the gloves, but I won't be finishing the set anytime soon. It probably would be in my interest to do so, but I'm really excited to get towards that Belladonna and that Poison Dynamite, so I'm not going to be focusing on doing agility for a while. At some point in the future though, we will absolutely be finishing the set, as I have very limited access to run recharge items, and graceful will be extremely useful. At some point I had acquired a beginner clue, I think it may have been from X Marks the Spot, but I wanted to do that next, and it required a chef's hat, which normally you'd have to kill goblins for, which I don't want to do. But thankfully recently, Jagex added the ability to purchase one from Shazian, so I headed there and bought one. Then the next step actually required leather chaps, which can't be bought anywhere, and I needed 18 crafting to do that, so I figured it was a good time to knock out the early game crafting quests, including Mythland Mystery, Sheep Shearer, and Murder Mystery, of course. Then the last thing I did is I went to the Tree Gnome Stronghold and spun flax for 18 crafting. This is a good way to get a little bit of extra crafting experience without having to buy materials from shops. It's really slow, but it's also pretty convenient, so it is an option at least. Now actually getting the leather for the leather chaps for the beginner clue is actually a little difficult. I obviously can't just go kill a cow, but I can actually pickpocket ham members, and they have a pretty common drop of cowhide for some reason. So that'll be my primary source of cowhide for beginner clues. Thankfully I got it real quick, and I was able to move forward and complete the clue, which unsurprisingly had a garbage reward, as beginners normally do. But I'm in it for those uniques, and we'll get those eventually. Now that I had 50 agility, it was time to start thinking about how to get 50 thieving in order to get the rogue's outfit for pickpocketing master farmers. But before I did that, I actually wanted to finish the 100% Hosidius favor so that I could unlock the Tithe Farm teleport to Hosidius. This is a minigame teleport that is extremely useful to this account, as getting to Zaya in any capacity is very hard at this point. And now that I have the money to buy the compost, getting the 100% Hosidius favor was really quick. After that, I actually completed my first easy clue, which I think I got from woodcutting early on, and of course it was also garbage. But there are some really interesting and neat uniques you can get from easy clues that I'm looking forward to getting in the future, so I'll be doing as many as I can. After that, I needed to work on the last video that you saw, so I did some AFK woodcutting. This is going to be my primary AFK task, I believe, as I'll need a lot of logs for fletching and construction in the future. Here I am just cutting some oak logs outside of Varrock. After my AFK session was done, I did get back on that 50 thieving grind by going back to fruit stalls, but I actually stopped at 45 thieving. And the reason for that is there's another way to get your thieving up in the middle levels that I think is worth doing, and that's actually the Sorceress's Garden. In order to do this method, you'll need to complete Prince Alley Rescue, so I went ahead and did that next, which was a pretty straightforward quest. Not really that scary. After that, I went ahead and did the Autumn Garden, which you unlock at 45 thieving, and that actually has a very decent experience rate. It's apparently possible to get upwards of 50,000 experience per hour if you do this absolutely perfectly every time. But of course I made a lot of mistakes, so I didn't get quite that experience rate. But still, it's a lot faster than fruit stalls that were peaking around 25,000 experience per hour. So I think it's worth doing at this middle level. The other nice thing about doing this method is you get 50 farming experience every time you pick a squirk, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but at my low level it adds up, and it got me a few levels, which will help a lot on the way to that Belladonna requirement. So after a little under an hour, I had all the squirks I needed to turn in for 50 thieving, so I went ahead and did that, and then headed straight to the Rogue's Den. Now the Rogue's Den is a minigame that's a little annoying. You basically have to avoid some obstacles and get all the way to the end where you can pickpocket a safe for a shot at the Rogue's outfit pieces, which of course double your pickpocketing loot. I actually had really good luck getting the Rogue's outfit. I think I got it in 8 or 9 total trips, which is absolutely insane. You should be expecting like 21 to 24 trips in order to actually get the full set. So no complaints from me there. With the Rogue's outfit achieved, we are able to head and start thieving master farmers to try to get some Belladonna seeds and other seeds just to start farming in general. But unfortunately, I also don't have a lot of food available to me at this point in the account. Of course, master farmers are absolutely brutal, especially at this low level. They're going to deal a lot of damage, so I'm going to need a lot of food to counteract that. So I actually thought Temperos might be a really good way to get some food to use for thieving, but at this point my fishing was only 31. So I thought in order to get my fishing up to 35 for Temperos, rather than just grinding it normally, I'll try to go ahead and get my Angler's outfit, as I'll want that eventually anyway. Even though the experience is slow, it could be a nice way to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. But I also wanted to get the construction experience you get from the trawler. Again, you get 50 experience per swamp paste that you use to fix the boat, and that does add up at my low level. So I did Daddy's Home, which is a really nice, easy mini quest that gives you a free house and a bunch of construction supplies. I also went ahead and completed another beginner clue that I got from woodcutting, garbage result as well, but unfortunately that's just how it is. So I had about average luck for the angular pieces from there. I can't remember exactly how many trips it took me, but I did eventually complete the whole set and get 35 fishing for 10 pros, which is great. During the process, I actually had to sell the oysters I was getting in order to buy more swamp paste, which was a little funny, but it worked out because the swamp paste is really expensive actually, and I still didn't have a lot of money to my name at this point. So after unlocking the angular, but before going to Tempros, I did do a little bit of pickpocketing Master Farmers just to try to get some starter seeds, which I began planting in the Hosidius patch. I'm only really going to focus on the Hosidius patch for now, as I'm going to try to stay in the area as transportation is still very expensive for me in terms of time, and the Hosidius patch is now protected for me, so it should help me get some faster experience that way. I also realized now, thanks to Sorceress's Garden, I had all the requirements needed for Garden of Death, which is a twisted tale that was released recently and can give you 10,000 farming experience at a low level, which is definitely worth. That'll help me boost me up a lot. It does unfortunately involve me running past some lizardmen, so I did get some anti-poison from just outside Castle Wars using the spawn here. Thankfully, actually starting Garden of Death wasn't too bad. The lizardmen aren't too scary as long as you eat up after every hit, and they can't one-hit you, so it's not too terrible. Garden of Death is a really straightforward quest. I actually finished it and got the farming experience, which then I realized pushed me over the requirement for Enlightened Journey, which is going to be a huge quest for the account, so something that I want to do next for sure. Not only does it give me some farming experience, it also allows me to unlock the balloon transportation system, which is going to be an extremely convenient way to get around the mainland of the game. I just had one problem though. I did need to get 36 crafting, so I went ahead and went back to Port Khazard and started buying crafting supplies from the traders there. This wound up only taking about an hour to both buy, smelt, and glassblow all of the crafting supplies that I got, and I got 36 crafting. So with 36 crafting and all of the ridiculously long list of supplies needed to actually do Enlightened Journey in tow, I went ahead and started the quest and got the willow tree planted that you're given during the quest. Of course, for Enlightened Journey, you need some willow tree branches, which are pretty hard to get. You have to grow a willow tree yourself, wait for it to grow, then wait for the branches to grow and get those. So there's quite a bit of waiting involved in this quest. So while I was waiting, I did go ahead and start Tempros. Now, I've never actually played Tempros on this game before, but it's a really straightforward scaling boss and quite fun. I think I'll do a lot of my fishing here. I'm going to want the Dragon Harpoon from this minigame anyway, and it's a 1 in 8,000 drop per reward permit, so I'll definitely be here for quite a while. For now though, I only did 50 reward permits worth of games, and I went ahead and fished the reward pool and got a lot of food, which will be extremely useful for pickpocketing those master farmers. I also got a rune chain body from a casket, which is amazing. That literally will double my cash stack. I went ahead and sent it straight to the Ardoyne West General Store to get a better price. If you weren't aware, the RD West General Store gives you near the high elk value for items that you sell to it, so it's definitely worth using versus other stores. Following that, I went ahead and went to the Hosidius kitchen, which lowers burn rate, and cooked all my Tempros food, which got me up to 46 cooking. Now I have a good amount of food in the bank, and I'm ready to do some more pickpocketing of Master Farmers. So what I'm really hoping from the Master Farmers here is, of course, those belladonna seeds, which are about a 1 in 600 chance. It's not going to be very sustainable to get them just from Master Farmers, so I'll have to start doing farming contracts soon as well. But I need as many of these seeds as I can get, as I'm going to blow through poison dynamite, pun intended, as soon as I unlock it. During the pickpocketing process, my willow tree for Enlightened Journey did complete, and this gave me the 34 farming requirement needed for Tithe Farm. So now I can finally do Tithe Farm, and I've finally unlocked the minigame teleport, which is huge. Getting back to Hosidius easily is going to be so nice. The nice thing about Tithe Farm, of course, is it doesn't require seeds. It gives you a decent amount of farming experience. So this is actually going to be my primary source of farming experience going forward, at least until 63. When I can unlock Belladonna. And then with all that work behind me, I was finally able to complete Enlightened Journey and unlock the balloon method of transportation, which is, again, really convenient. I went ahead and unlocked the crafting guild location right away, which requires 30 fire making, and then I did have to get 40 fire making to unlock the Verak location, but I unlocked that one right away as well after that. I did take a few minutes to completely fill up the log storage with the logs I could actually chop, as it stores up to 100 of each kind of log, and that way I don't need to remember to take a log with me to use the balloon to get around the game. I kind of wish it stored more, but even 100 will be nice. During woodcutting for the log storage, I did get a beginner clue, which I completed, and more garbage loot, unfortunately. Still waiting for a unique from these. I did my second round of Tithe Farm following that, and I actually got my first unlock. So if you do 2 rounds of Tithe Farm, you can unlock this thing called Auto Weed, which I highly recommend. It gives you the ability to never have to weed your farming patches again, which is is incredibly convenient, and it only takes a little while to unlock. So if you don't have that, definitely recommend you go ahead and do it. And then finally, it was time for AFK again, and you know what that means, we're woodcutting. And this time we're going to go ahead and AFK some willows. I'm going to AFK these up by the Barbarian Assault Arena, as there's nothing that can kill me up here, and it's still really close to a bank. I'll need quite a few willows for fire making and fletching, so it kind of makes sense to chop them for right now, though I'll probably go back to oaks at some point in the future for construction as well. But unfortunately, that does go ahead and bring us to the end of this video. Wasn't quite able to get all the way up to Belladonna, but we'll be able to unlock that pretty quickly now that we have access to the Tithe Farm. It's just a matter of grinding it out. After that, it's just a few more requirements to get that poison dynamite and start doing some fun stuff on this account. Of course, before we go, we can't leave without thanking the members who have joined the channel already. Your support means so much to me, and thank you so much for joining. And of course, a double huge thank you to those supporters who have joined at that top tier: Peepo Time, Mad Hatter, and KittyLynne. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.